AEW Forbidden Door is this weekend, and oh boy, do they need it to be a banger. This needs to be an unreal show. This needs to be an unreal week of AEW. And I have talked before a few times that, hey, you know what? Feels like they're on track. Hey, feels like AEW's back on track. And then it keeps getting off track. The ratings last week are really, really, really alarming. And it's not just that they had one of the worst ratings they've ever had on a Wednesday, but it's the fact that you have your big free agent acquisition in your world title headliner. You have your biggest homegrown star in your opener advertised for a week that he is going to be in a commercial-free opener to start the show, and you still have some of your worst ratings ever. The Forbidden Door concept was really, really cool a couple of years ago, but now, like, a couple of the big reasons why it was so cool is, oh my god, we get to see Will Ospreay, and oh my god, we get to see Kazuchika Okada. Well, got him now. And while I love New Japan and I love CMLL, they just don't have the big talent that is drawing this intrigue of, holy crap, we actually get to see these guys in this ring. We've seen all the New Japan guys who have come over a few times now. And so that there isn't that special mystique or anything like that. Two, they're in kind of a rebuilding phase of their own, right? Okada is gone. Ospreay is gone. Tanahashi has moved into a management role, still wrestling a little bit, but he is absolutely not what he used to be, which is fine. But now that they are working on building up some of this young talent, and so while they're in this building phase, it's okay, we're going over to CMLL to get these guys, but they have done jack squat about telling us about why these guys are so awesome. And a lot of them, yeah, just throw them out in the ring, have them do flippy dippy stuff, and that's really cool. And I absolutely love it. But you've given us nothing to get really invested in a whole lot of these guys. And so basically every match now, the biggest star of these matches is the AEW talent. And if that's going to be the case, I don't know if Forbidden Door needs to be an every year thing. I think this concept really needs, or really requires, New Japan to have some really hot talent to be able to come in, and really requires CMLL to be firing on all cylinders. And that's simply not the case right now. I think it would be more fun to have this talent kind of pop up and have some of these guys do like a 3-month tour with the company, instead of, oh, they popped in and now they're doing a ladder match on Sunday. Isn't that sweet? Oh, they lost, now they're gone again. Like, have these guys actually stick around for a little bit and actually do something with them scattered throughout the year, instead of, well, it's Forbidden Door time, so you never know who's going to show up, and oh, look at that, another guy with a mask came in. And again, like, I want to state unequivocally, or however it's pronounced, that so much of the New Japan talent that's going to be on this card this weekend and the CMLL talent that is going to be on the card this weekend are talent that I adore and think the world of. But this concept clearly isn't working. It feels forced, and it just feels like kind of a more of an anchor at this point. And it's so interesting when we're talking about AEW being this alternative to WWE. But now WWE feels like they're firing on all cylinders, and they had another really interesting week, or have another really interesting week coming up. But one of the things that we were so frustrated about when AEW debuted is Hell in a Cell, this big concept that's supposed to be the blow-off of all blow-off feuds, is now just October. It's whatever feud is happening in October, that is what we get. And sometimes it's hot and deserves it, and sometimes it's not and it doesn't. But they got away from that, which is what we wanted. AEW now, well, it's time, so we're doing Forbidden Door now. And now all of a sudden all this talent is going to come over. Like, it feels like, again, one of the concepts from the WWE that we were trying to get away from when we were looking for AEW to be the alternative. Anyway, there are going to be some amazing matches on this. And one of them is Swerve Strickland against Will Ospreay. And I think the intriguing part of this is both of these guys feel like, oh, you can't beat that guys, right? Like, it feels like with the Owen Hart being the opportunity at All In for the number one contender for the world title, it feels like you can't beat Will Ospreay. Because what, are you just going to not have Will Ospreay in your title match at Wembley? But at the same time, this is Swerve's first main event as champion. And it doesn't really feel like this has fully run its course as champion yet. So you can't beat him. So it feels really intriguing. The follow to however this match goes is going to be so important. But these two guys Both of them feel like the biggest stars in the company right now. And just to have them go in there and have this match, I hope there isn't anything screwy. I hope it is a legitimate 1, 2, 3, and then I hope however they want to spin it back after is effective. Like I hope we get a legitimate clean finish right in the middle of that ring come Sunday night. But coming up this week, like what I'm looking for on Dynamite, I think the build for MJF and Okada needs to be huge, and basically everything this week needs to be huge. They need something big for Moxley. This ladder match, it kind of feels like it's gonna be all right. With Jack Perry being at the center of this whole thing, but there's just not a whole lot that feels like a big deal right now. And so this Wednesday genuinely has to feel like one of the biggest Dynamites of all time if we're going to get this thing on track for what we believe this pay-per-view can be coming up on Sunday.